This is He Knows Everything, bringing you that heat and that far. We keeping a foot on the whoop, the geeks. We keeping a foot on the whoop, the geeks. He Knows Everything knows that he's getting under the Cinnamon Alvarez fanboy skin because you don't know shit about boxing. Oh, you're talking about Canelo. You're talking bad about Canelo because you're trying to get subscribers and views. No, I'm not. I'm talking the reality of Canelo Alvarez. I'm truth-telling about Canelo Alvarez. It's guys that coon and buffoon for Canelo Alvarez. That's how you could tell in their cooning and buffooning. That's how you could tell in their cooning and buffooning that they basically cap for cinnamon dust of a horchata. I don't do that, man. I don't cap for him. The reason why I don't cap for him is because I don't believe in him. He's a fake boxer. He's not real. Real recognizes real. He is not real. Nothing about this guy tells you that he is everything that a lot of boxing fans say that he is. I done told you about inferiority and superiority. Most inferior people, they go one way. When they go that way, the superior person is supposed to go the other way. Let me say it again. Most inferior people, i.e. beta males, they go this way. When you see that as a superior individual, an alpha male, you go the other way. Most individuals will tell you Canelo Alvarez is great. The word great is used in such an elastic form these days that you take luster away from that word. Great is not a term that you just throw out. Floyd Mayweather is great. Andre Ward is great. Earl the True Spence is great. These are great fighters. Canelo Alvarez is not great. Gervonta Tank Davis is great. Jamal Charlo is great. Canelo Alvarez is not a great fighter. Because all of these guys that I've mentioned that are great are willing to fight the best and have been in positions where they have fought the best. And they are continuing to do things to showcase they are not afraid of the challenges that beholds them and the challenges that are laid out in front of them. Canelo Alvarez is scared of Jamal Charlo. Boxing fans want to run away from this, but they can't. It's the truth. He's been ducking Jamal Charlo since 2013. And these fight fans, i.e. Cinnamon Alvarez fanboys, tell you, well, he gave Jamal Charlo an offer. No, he didn't. He gave him a lowball offer. Eddie Reynoso. And I'm going to school you Cinnamon Alvarez fanboys. So you guys cannot go against the cold-hearted, the unadulterated, and the cutthroat truth-teller fashion. Eddie Reynoso called Jamal Charlo a great fighter. You guys say Jamal Charlo are bums. You Cinnamon Alvarez fanboys are not sniffing the cinnamon dust enough. Let me say it again. You're not sniffing the cinnamon dust enough, or you're not drinking the horchata milk enough. You're supposed to fall in line with your fighter. You guys are not even doing that. That tells me you guys are Ruby Poop and Plum brains. It tells me that you're classic Dolton troglodytes. It tells me that you're ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetoric. How you root for a fighter and you're not falling in line? When you root for a fighter, you fall in line with that fighter. Nobody's telling you to kiss the fighter's ass. Nobody's telling you to basically agree with everything the fighter does and says. In this quintessential point, though, you're supposed to agree. Eddie Reynoso is the trainer of Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Saul Alvarez. The Cinnamon Alvarez that you Cinnamon Alvarez fanboys prescribe to. He called Jamal Charlo a great fighter. He said that fight would be great for boxing. So am I going to listen to you brain full of mush and brainwashed dodo heads? Or am I going to listen to the trainer that's saying that? The level of respect is the reason why they've ducked Jamal Charlo since 2013. Jamal Charlo poses fits that Canelo Alvarez can't figure out. He's 6'1" to Canelo Alvarez's 5'9". Jamal Charlo's power transcends weight class after weight class after weight class. He's knocked people out at 154. Beat the hell up out of people at 160 and gotten them up out of there. Canelo Alvarez understands that, and he knows Jamal Charlo would be dangerous at 168. So explain to me what I'm saying that's not the cold-hearted, that's not the unadulterated, and that's not the cutthroat truth teller fashion. It's documented that Canelo Alvarez has ducked this guy since 2013. Demetrius Andrade, he's ducked him about the same amount of time. That is an easier fight to make. Demetrius Andrade is on the zone. Why can't that fight happen? It's the things that make you say, It's the things that make you say, Fight fans don't want to answer this question. They want to accept delusion. They want to accept delusions of grandeur. They want to accept grander delusions. This is what they want to accept. They don't want to accept the cold-hearted, the unadulterated, and the cutthroat truth teller fashion that he knows everything is delivering unto them. Canelo Alvarez is not the boxer that you guys think that he is, and he will never be until he steps into the ring with the likes of a Jamal Charlo and demolishes him, until he steps into the ring with the likes of a Demetrius Andrade and demolish him. Until he does these things, Canelo Alvarez will never gain the level of respect that is quintessential for a middleweight that's trying to be transitional. This is what the middleweight division is all about, being a transitional fighter in a division. Canelo Alvarez fought a butt of all sparring jokes in Anvil just to stay busy. Am I lying? Or is it not documented that he did fight him? He fought BJ Saunders, knowing that BJ Saunders looked bad against a journeyman in the fight prior, that he had breathing and stamina issues. Is that not taking advantage? Am I lying? Did this fight not been documented and happen? He fought Caleb Smith, and when Caleb Smith told everyone that he didn't have a full training camp, they said excuses. Cinnamon Alvarez fanboys, just like Cinnamon Alvarez, they have the most excuses. They are the worst boxing fans ever because they don't want to accept the truth. Do I need to keep on going? He fought Liam Smith, a weak, inferior opponent. Why were you fighting somebody like that? But they tell you, oh, he was just getting through the weight class. But this is Canelo Alvarez, right? He's supposed to be pound for pound number one. Pound for pound number one means you're fighting elite competition and you're fighting basically great fights all the fucking time. You're not sitting here having tune-ups. You can't be pound for pound number one and having tune-ups. Gerardo True Smith used Danny Garcia as a tune-up. That's pound for pound right there. Andre Ward, quality opposition after quality opposition, pound for pound. Floyd Mayweather, the same thing, pound for pound. So don't get me started. Canelo Alvarez fought Amir Khan. Why did that fight even happen at a catch weight? How can you take a fighter like that seriously? What was Canelo Alvarez going to gain? Did the boxing fans not know that Canelo Alvarez was going to knock out Amir Khan? He's a glass chin variation. Why even accept that fight? Canelo Alvarez ducked Triple G for years when Triple G was more in his prime. These are facts, man. He tried to get him at a catch weight. These are things that are documented. Canelo Alvarez cannot be respected. Do I need to keep on going? Canelo Alvarez was petrified of black elite fighters after he got beat up by Floyd Mayweather and Arislan Lar. These are facts. Notice he's not fighting and he's not clamoring to get in the ring with elite black fighters. And when he got in the ring with Danny Jacobs, a cancer patient, mind you, he rehydrated him. He didn't want him at his full weight. That's why I respect Triple G. Triple G has no special effects up and down, but at least he fought Danny Jacobs at a full-fledged 186. Why couldn't Canelo Alvarez do the same thing? But boxing fans don't keep that same energy, dog. Let me say it again. They don't keep that same energy, dog. And then let's keep forwarding this. He fought Sergey Kovalev, a guy that told you that he was having issues with Russian mafia. Did boxing fans forget that? Was that not documented? A guy that was 6 weeks removed from being concussed in an Anthony Yarde fight. Was that not taking advantage? Was that not finding the weak link? It sounds like Canelo Alvarez's MO. Canelo Alvarez took Clint Glutarol. Did boxing fans hold him to that? No, they said dirty Mexican meat. This guy's mired in controversy, man. Nothing about this guy is anything that you should respect. So why are fight fans not keeping that same energy, dog? Because they want their cake and they want to eat it too. They want to engage in what's called pandering narratives. We told you guys, pandering narratives have a ceiling cap. Once it goes up, woo, the motherfucker must come tumbling down. I'm not talking about Canelo Alvarez because I want to talk about him. I don't talk about Canelo Alvarez like that. I can't stand to talk about him. Because this guy right here is not willing to fight the best. He is erroneously number one on the pound for pound list. Everyone knows on that pound for pound list, number one should be Errol Spence. Because of the heavyweight lifting and the heavyweight lifting, the notion that this guy's done. Now I can understand Errol Spence been on the shelf, so you got to knock him down a little bit. I put Gervonta Tank Davis number one. Gervonta Tank Davis been active as fuck. I have Tank number one right now. I got Spence number two, and I got Jermell Charlo number three. Because of the heavyweight lifting and the heavyweight lifting denotions. Well, I have to push Jermell Charlo out of the equation because of his last fight. And just remember, see, I can correct myself. Gervonta Tank Davis number one, Errol Spence number two. And if I'm looking at my number three and I'm being honest with it, that's very tough. Because Teofimo Lopez, to me, is not a real champion because he beat Vasily Lomachenko in a highway robbery, so I can't give him credit for that. The heavyweight division is in a muck. I don't respect Tyson Fury. He's a crackhead cheater. Let's see. Can't give it to no Alexander Usyk because we already know that was a great white hope situation there. Anthony Joshua was robotic, so can't give it to him. You know, I'm just being honest here. Damn sure not gonna give it to the Chihuahua walking behind the damn fence because his opponents are nothing to be admired about. So it's really tough for me to put somebody at number three. See, these are the standards that you got to judge the pound for pound on. Not just plugging people into the equation because you think these people should be in the equation. Let me say it again. You're not just plugging people in the equation because you think people should be in the equation. There's my number three. Josh Taylor at 140 because he got all the belts and what he's done for me lately. There you go. You see? I got Gervonta Tank Davis number one, Errol Spence number two, and Josh Taylor number three. See, I knew I would figure it out. Canelo Alvarez is not there because this guy right here has been fighting lower level competition that custom made for him to win. When you fight people like that, that's called tune-up fights. That's called stay busy fights. And that's called basically being in a relaxed form. It's not legendary. That's ordinary. Floyd Mayweather was fighting champion after champion. He went from Robert Guerrero, who was quality at that time, under-fucking-feeded, to Miguel Cotto, Virgil Ortiz, who beat Andre Berto at that time. You see how what Floyd was doing? You see the difference? That's the difference between Floyd and Canelo Alvarez. Floyd stepped up to the plate and fought competition. Canelo Alvarez, he fought him. Manny Pacquiao. Floyd was fighting consistent champions since the Oscar De La Hoya fight. That's why Floyd belonged number one pound for pound that whole fucking time. But Canelo Alvarez is not doing this. And you want me to respect him? I'm never going to respect a guy like that. He's a fraud. He's not what you guys think that he is. He's petrified and scared of David Benavidez. He doesn't even mention him. These are facts. And he took David Benavidez's vacant belt. He didn't beat him. A real champion would have been like, nah. Y'all just gonna give me this belt. I'm gonna fight this dude and I'm gonna take it from him. Can't respect that. So when he knows everything tells you this, what is he telling you again that's not the truth? Tell me. See, fight fans are going to give you their emotions. They're going to give you their hot and bothered like gritness. They're going to give you their insecurity and misery in their lives because they cannot stand the truth. The truth hurts, motherfuckers, but it will set you free. But those whom the truth set free are free indeed. So when it's all said and done, Canelo Alvarez is what he is. A sham. A fraud. And he's an ordinary fighter. When Floyd beat him up the way that he did, it ended his career before it even started. So if Canelo Alvarez wants to gain respect, he needs to fight Jermall Charlo. He needs to fight Demetrius Andrade. He needs to fight David Benavidez. He needs to fight those 3 fights and beat those guys up definitively. And I would never say no shit about Canelo Alvarez. He does that, shit, I'll be the first one in line to tell you that's a quality motherfucker right there. But he's not going to do it. I have all the confidence in the world in believing that because he's petrified of elite competition. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat truth-teller fashion. And we're going to also add to this. Canelo Alvarez was called out by Bernard Hopkins when he was on Clinton Blue to Raw. Bernard Hopkins challenged him and told him that you need to do this off the strength of your blood, sweat, and tears. And Bernard Hopkins is qualified because Bernard Hopkins is one of the middleweights that basically made the middleweight division what it is in boxing's history. Not today, because today's landscape, I don't fucking understand it. Outside of Jermall Charlo and Demetrius Andrade, I don't fucking understand it. But I'm just pointing out the truth. I'm calling a spade a spade. I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it a buck, and I'm keeping it 1,000. Until Canelo Alvarez fights elite competition consistently and authentically, then I can't respect a guy like that. Because a guy like that you say is #1 pound for pound has to continue to fight #1 pound for pound opposition. Absence doing this. What are we talking about here? We're talking cinnamon dust. We're talking drinking horchata milk. And we're talking the biggest fraud in boxing. I keeps the foot on the whoop. Higgs. I keeps the foot on the whoop. Higgs. This is He Knows Everything. Check it out.